talk about ready positions. That's kind of a big deal. Let me preface this with we don't know. I don't know, and I don't know that we'll ever know. But it's possible that this woman officer in Tulsa fired her gun when the taser went off next to her body, right? She was fixated on the guy, finger on the trigger at extension, and this trainer has a tattletale alarm on it. If your finger is on the trigger and you get startled, we know that grasp reflex could kick in and a round could get discharged. That might be what happened. We don't know. But I know it's worth talking about. What she's saying is that she was fixated so much on the potential threat that she didn't even know she had backup as a mitigating reason why she felt like she was being threatened if that guy was reaching in the car. Well, if I'm in an extended ready position, whether my finger's on the trigger or not, we know there's a physiological phenomenon, which usually is referred to as tunnel vision, as a negative, right? And that's I don't like to talk about natural reactions as a negative. Most of our natural reactions are actually survival positive. Well, if you study vision, we have the rods and cones, right? Y'all heard about the rods and the cones? So the cones are concentrated in the center of your field of vision. So I have to remember that. Cones are in the center. Your rods are much better at picking up motion than the cones. Cones are really good at color and detail and that kind of stuff, but the rods are more sensitive to changes in light value. So it's grayscale light value. Well, movement is a change in light value in some sector of our range of vision, right? Our field of vision. So if there's movement out here, especially if it's close or if it's sudden, my rods tend to pick up on that, and what happens? What do I do naturally? Turn to look at it, right? So this gets my attention. I look at it. If it's something threatening or startling or interesting, my focus tends to go towards it physiologically. There is a change in the way the rods and the cones are collecting information, a change in the capacity for work, a change in blood flow. So I'm gathering more information in the center of my field of vision, and my visual processing center at the back of the brain, the occipital lobe, is overwhelmed, essentially, with center field of vision information. So we don't really lose peripheral vision, we just get it overwhelmed, and our brain is paying more attention and processing more information from the center of our field of vision, which is awesome, because if a bear comes out from behind a tree and gets my attention, and I go, oh crap, a bear, and I've got to fight the bear, but then my friend or my wife or my kid over here goes, oh shit, a bear, and that motion distracts me, and I look over there, then a bear eats my face. So not being distracted once you've been distracted and you're in a threat mode is a survival positive. Loss of peripheral vision isn't a negative, it's good. That thing that you're looking at is probably what you need to be looking at. Don't worry so much about that over there right now. Right? The guy that got distracted by that got his face eaten by a bear and didn't make babies, and that's why we all stay focused on what scares us now. That guy went home and got laid. Right? So what happens? I'm in a fight. I'm super focused on, I'm in a conflict. That guy might try to kill me. I'm super focused on him behaviorally. I'm super focused on him physiologically. And now I'm going to put the only thing that's going to save me out in front of me too. Now that thing's out here, how much more fixated am I on what's going on out here? And let me ask you this. Where should if I know I need to shoot this guy? Trevor?
Tyler,
damn it. So if I know I need to shoot Tyler, where's my trigger finger going right about now? Onto the trigger, right? This is the shooting. Oh, that's not what I want to happen. What I want to happen if I'm going to shoot him is I want to hear that little bang bang sound. If I'm going to extensions and I'm in a life-threatening situation, my brain is trained already from these ranges that as I drive out in a life-threatening situation, my finger goes to the trigger to shoot. But now I'm in an in-between zone. So here I am in an extended ready position, psychologically focused on this guy, physiologically getting more information on this guy, and I've got a gun in my hand, and this is a shooting position, so my finger goes to the trigger. This is a really textbook example for why we don't teach extended ready positions. Extended ready positions, the brain is going to choose between, well, if sometimes my finger's off the trigger here, and sometimes my finger's on the trigger here, what should I do? Which one is the one that saves your life? Finger where?
On the trigger.
On the trigger. That's why there's an organization called Force Science that does some very good research, controlled type study research that we don't have a lot of in our community on different things in the training environment. One of the things they did an investigation on was trigger check. And they wanted to see, like, can we train people to not touch the trigger? And they kind of came to the conclusion that no matter how well trained you are, when you're searching a house or doing other things, you're going to go to the trigger. So one of their findings, if you'll read these studies, they say, well, gee, double action first shot guns like the SIG or the M9 Beretta, probably a really good idea. New York triggers on Glocks, probably a really good idea, because no matter how well we train officers, their fingers are very likely to go to the trigger. I think it's a really flawed conclusion, because if I take this gun and I put it in a police officer's hand, and put it in anybody's hand who's been trained to search clear areas, and they've got their partner, this guy's watching that way, I'm watching this way. If I'm doing it like Jack Bauer style, of course my finger is confused. Is this where my finger goes or not? If I'm doing it like this is where my finger goes in an emergent situation. So it doesn't surprise me that people get confused once that gun leaves the body and goes out into an extended position, that the finger starts floating to the trigger. And it should, because that's where I need it to be if I'm shooting. What I don't need to do is extend the gun if I'm not shooting. So we teach a high compressed ready position. Keep the gun in close where your finger is always off the trigger. If I need to go to a retention shooting position, I'm going to come back here. So this is a finger off the trigger position. Could I shoot from here? Yeah, but I'm not training to. I'm either going to shoot from here or I'm going to pull the gun back to retention and shoot from there. So we don't shoot from partial extension, we shoot from full extension, and we're in the ready position, because guess what? The overwhelming majority of the time, the police officer pulls his gun out, he's not going to shoot it. And I sure as hell don't want people getting shot when they don't need to get shot. And just in a jurisdiction near where my house is out in Colorado, we just had an officer shoot somebody who didn't need to get shot because he slipped. He was in an extended ready position, telling a guy to get out of the car, slipped on the ice in February, hit the ground, and fired a shot into the guy's chest. And another friend of mine who shot a guy who had just run a cleaver into a guy's head, stole his patrol car, got into a pursuit, jumped out, guy came out running at another officer with something in his hand. They both shot him, and their shooting was under investigation when this guy slipped and fell. Well, the guy didn't have a meat cleaver in his hand, but we can see why when he jumped out of the stolen police car with a flashlight running at another officer, that shooting was justified. But what is the public here? Unarmed man shot. A week and a half, 2 weeks later, another unarmed man shot. How much more scrutiny was put on my buddy's good shoot because some guy was at an extended ready with his finger on the trigger yelling at the guy to get out of a car that didn't need to have a gun pointed at him, probably and certainly didn't need to be shot. Extended readies. Probably not a great idea. You have more fatigue, less retention capability, and it's very likely that that finger is going to float down to the trigger, because this should be a shooting position. All right, so that's a little something to think about. It's a big deal. I think, the baby's here. All right, baby hates extended ready.